Doodle-doodle-doodle-doo. Whoop, whoop. There it is. There it is. Let's get into it. Coach Colin here. Happy Tuesday, everybody. What is going on? Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. Let's just get right into it. We're going to be discussing some different things here. It's going to get interesting because what we're doing here today is we're going to be going deeper into often. Okay. You guys remember often from last episode where I gave you a little breakdown. I'm going to go a little deeper into that. And then I am going to go into Charlie Kirk and Erika Kirk and what was in their vicinity where they grew up. If I told you that there was some test facilities for things like Mortal Kombat Ultra, for things like Often, would you believe me? Well, we'll get into that a little bit. And then we're going to end it with just breaking down. We're going to end it with super chats. We're going to end it down with just breaking down the holy mob, as I call it. That's what I'm going to be calling it. And then I'm going to read something. We haven't really, established all the information yet, me and my researcher, but I'm going to read something that he sent to me just to give you a little tidbit of what it is. And I just want you guys to understand what that is when I say it. So I'm just going to do a little breakdown there, but there's something that's more important than all of that. Okay. And it's whoever is making these things. Okay. I had to repost it, of course. Who is doing that? Who is making... Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, I was laughing I've never laughed so hard seeing something just like right away. This is absolutely amazing. He has the mints. Oh, Sean, you have to understand. These are the things, okay? Okay? We have a lot of these, all right? So we do 2 weeks worth of planning, okay, when it comes to these things here. And we make sure everybody has a box and there's a whole little breakdown we do. And there's access, everybody's able to talk about what mints they want, what type of flavors, things of that nature. Some guys like spearmint, other guys like winter fresh. Me, myself, I'm a peppermint guy, okay? So we like to just keep everything available for everybody. And it doesn't stop. It doesn't stop. Who did this? Shout out to Cat Autocrat, man. It's just why are there so many mints in the background? Oh my god. And he's like breaking it. You know what it looks like when I first saw this? That he was on Tucker Carlson's show. You know how Tucker Carlson does this thing in a log cabin? It looked exactly like that, just in the log cabin, just breaking down what the mints are about, and there's a way back machine, okay? And all I'm saying, if we can just push them all in, Candace, if we could get Baron, we grab Ian, we grab him, okay? I don't care how tall he is, we grab him, we throw him in the way back machine, and that coach character. He's not even a real coach, you know that? And we get them all back in the way back machine, okay? We take him to 1985. And then we handle them like we did back in 1982. Like the laws were so different in the 80s. Where is he from? Where is he from that the laws were so different? It's going to take us to a place where mutual combat is okay. Okay. All right. I guess it's you against all of us, I guess. I don't know. I don't know how that's going to turn out. I feel like Baron has some hands on him. I'm just saying. He seems calm, but he seems like he could have a temper if you pushed him too far. I don't know if you want to deal with all that. And from what I'm hearing, I don't know if you guys have heard this, Ian Carroll is like 7'4" or something like that. People are saying he's gigantic, which is just like mind blowing to me. Okay. And I'm serious about that. I heard he's 8'1". Have you guys heard that? Have you not been hearing that? I don't know, man. I heard he's gigantic, Anyway, so many mints in the background. Thank you so much to whoever's making these. Someone even took it a step further. Look at this. This is nuts. Look, I didn't even read that. I just said this is nuts. I really talk like that. Look at this.
Offered Charlie some mints, but he wouldn't take them or listen. That's where our responsibilities as a team, end. offered Charlie some mints, but he wouldn't take them or listen. That's where our responsibilities as a team.
This is just nuts. If you can't hear it, he said he offers Charlie some mints, but he didn't take them. You know, I said to Charlie, all I need you to do is just take these mints, okay? There's $150 million worth of mints. This is going to take Turning Point to the next level, okay? Me and my friend, and I won't say who it is, okay? He's the Emperor of Philadelphia, if you really got to know. And we just want you to take these mints, okay? They got a resale value of $80 million. Charlie said no. Charlie's a man of integrity. He doesn't need no mints. Guy brushes his teeth in the morning. He didn't need all that. But yeah, this is wild. People making these things here. You got to think, guys, what happens if he sees this stuff? You got to remember that. He's going to see this stuff eventually. Could you imagine he does see it and he's just like, what's going on with all these mints? Who told him about the mints? All of a sudden he's like, where did I slip up? Where did I slip up? Oh, gosh. Oh, Sean Ryan podcast. Oh, I mentioned the angel who had a husband named Angel who was giving me mints. Oh, God, they're on to me. Calls up Erika. Erika, I have to meet you at Fort Huachuca right away. No, it's not about him. Be quiet. That happened months ago. It's about the mints. I'll see you there, okay? They figured out our mint operation. If they ever figure out what's inside those mints, all hell's gonna break loose. Anyway, thank you so much for making those things, guys. Let's get into some stuff here. I'm gonna go a little deeper into Often, like I said. And again, I've been looking at things through the lens of Often. And then there's, well, I'll talk about it's what came after Often. I'll talk about that after. There's another thing. I'll call it S-Gate. Okay, it's S-Gate, but it was along the same lines. And they weren't that far apart from each other. So it's very interesting. But when you start looking at everything through that lens of, we're not going to, Mortal Kombat Ultra, that's something that they tried. They did all sorts of wild things to see what they could do with a person. Trying to be very, PG as I explain it. But they did also, you know the things I'm talking about. They did wild things. And when you start looking at everything, Hollywood, movies, TV, even some of the quote unquote independent journalists and creators, when you really start looking at what's going on, because so many of us have asked the question, why are there so many, why in every cartoon is there a theme, an alphabet theme? Why in every cartoon? Why is it in every movie? Why do I turn on Netflix and that's all I see? Why is that constantly happening? Why does the news make me afraid every time I watch it? Like, why do all these things take place? And when you start looking at Often more and more, and some of the information, because we're going to go a little deeper, it starts to make sense of why we're seeing this stuff everywhere. Again, I know I touched on this already, but I looked at it like, oh, there's just these evil people, and somehow they became the head of Hollywood. I made the joke like, a bunch of wizards just pop up out of nowhere, and they're just like, we're taking over the movie industry. I need every man in here to put on a dress immediately. If you want money, whoever puts on the dress fastest gets $100 million. Kevin Hart, would you like to start? Kevin's like, yep. Got it. My cleavage look good, boss? It looks great. Anybody else? Oh, look at you. You're all in dress. Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. This is very good. That is, listen, I'm making it funny, but that's what happens. That's what's happening. It's very weird. And it's going down like a weird road, but let's get into it. Thank God it's today, as we should. Deeper into Often. So let's just get right into it. So it was a highly classified joint effort between the agency and the DOD. It ran from the late 60s into the 70s. Exact dates are unclear due to the destruction of most of the records. There was like a destruction order. I don't know if you knew this. And a lot of this is getting out because there are a bunch of files that are left that explain things. I actually have one of the files, and it's so weird. I might try and pull that up at the end. It's such a weird thing. But there was a destruction order. So a lot of it the craziest of it probably got put aside. Yeah, I'm wondering, and I'm working with my researcher, but we're looking into what is left in regards to Hollywood, if anything at all. Like I can't say that there is or there isn't. It looks like there is, by the look of things, but we'd love to see some actually like verifiable information. But we keep going here. Mortal Kombat Ultra, you guys know what that is. Bang, bang, bang. You understand. Mortal Kombat Ultra focused primarily on substance and psychological, often deliberately pushed into more esoteric territory. It investigated occult practices, ritual magic, Satanism, demonology, astrology, tarot cards. Okay. And you know what's funny about this? When I hear that, it's so interesting to me, because when I would work in film and television, I worked a position, it was called locations, and you'd be everywhere, basically. You'd interact with every department, and you'd have to clean up after celebrities. You'd have to clean up their trailers, make sure they're all good. You'd set up their trailers to begin with. And so many sets that I was on, there was always tarot cards. Always. Barely, I couldn't think of one production I was on where they didn't have some room where they had a bunch of tarot cards all the time. We didn't have to buy them for them. They already had them, but it was just like a constant thing that you'd see. Ceremonial and religious rituals, that really stands out to me, especially as we talk about Charlie Kirk. We talk about Turning Point Faith, and we talk about all the connective tissue and the key players that I'll get into near the end. But that really stands out to me, because when you look at what they're doing, and I won't just call out Turning Point Faith, just in general, when you see the spectacle that's being made in a lot of these mega churches and things like that, a memorial service for Charlie is just riddled with pyrotechnics and like all of this pageantry, really. It really stands out. And you think to yourself, well, why do they do that kind of thing? Like, why would you do that? Like, I wouldn't do that. God forbid. I don't even want to talk. God forbid I'm in a situation like that. Never would I think to do that. Never. No matter what. No matter what. I don't care if my wife was Dolly Parton. Never would I think. I don't know why I chose that person. I was like, my wife's blonde. I got to pick a blonde. Never would I do anything like that. It just seems so out of place, so out of character. But there's a reason that they do things like that. We keep going, and this stands out to me even more. Symbolic belief, manipulation. There's a lot of that going on. And if I had to explain that just briefly, that's the whole thing of, if you don't believe Candace is evil, then you're against God. And I'm going to loosely I'm not even going to really bring up scripture. I'm just going to say she's unholy. I'm just going to say you shouldn't believe in her. And you're all going to just believe me. And if you even stand up to question me, well, then you're right along with her. And, you're in for eternal damnation, that type of thing. Taking your beliefs and really twisting them for their own will. And you see a lot of that with these things. What is it called? Calvary Church? Calvary? Is that what it is? You see a lot of that with them. You see a lot of that with Turning Point Faith. And, Turning Point Faith, I didn't pick up on it. And same with Calvary. I didn't pick up on it until Candace and Tucker made them really activate, in a sense. Otherwise, I was just like, oh, it's just regular stuff. They're just bringing faith in, nothing wrong with that. And that's why it's so insidious, because there is nothing wrong with that. And it's actually a really good thing. But when somebody, twists it for their own agenda, it becomes evil. When combined with substance, could produce deeper, longer lasting. And you know what? You don't even have to combine it with anything in reality. I mean, let's be real. With what we're looking at, what we're talking about, it doesn't have to be combined with anything. People are just doing it. And you know what it could be combined with, now that I'm thinking about it? Combined with social media. Combined with not wanting to be the bad person who believes in Candace, not wanting to be the terrible person who wants to hear more of what Tucker has to say. You combined it with that, and that's been enough for people. We've seen that throughout the year, past 5 years, 6 years. We've seen that so many times. They don't have to combine it with anything. Could produce deeper, longer lasting, and more reliable effects than hypnosis. Trying to stay away from these keywords here. More reliable than hypnosis alone. One of you actually mentioned that Erika said something about hypnosis while she was with Barry Weiss. I have to look into that. I'm not sure what that was. Core purpose, the hypothesis, was certain ritualistic and esoteric techniques could induce profound altered states of consciousness. You know what's funny? I know there's a story with Joe Rogan. I don't know if you know with Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan bought a comedy club. Everybody knows. Joe Rogan has the Mothership. It's on 6th Street. It's a great place. I've been there. I saw Joey Diaz live. It was mind-blowing. I saw Rogan, but Joey Diaz was like, holy. It was Rogan, Joey Diaz, or no, Joe Rogan, Tony Hinchcliffe, Joey Diaz. I was like, what is going on right now? When you think about the fact that Joe Rogan bought a club before, the club that he's in now, that's the second venue that he bought. He bought a first one, and there were things like this going on. So basically, just to break it down, this guy was like a con artist, and he was getting a bunch of people to follow him, right? He had them doing yoga and different things like that. And he was a con artist. He wasn't real. He was just getting these people to do things that he wanted to do, if you get my drift. And the remarkable thing is, when you hear the documentary and you hear the people talk about it, he had this thing called the knowing. He said only the most dedicated people could receive the knowing. Okay. And what the knowing would be, he would get into some ceremony type of thing, and he would simply just put a finger on your head, and he would be transferring the knowing. He was like some deity in their eyes, right? And he was transferring the knowing to them. And the people who received it report that it was the deepest religious experience they've ever had. Like, it was truly, they felt it. It was real. You could not convince them otherwise. They, they're dropping on the ground, all the things that you think to see. And they're like, it is 100% real. They didn't have to act. It was a beautiful, profound moment in their lives that they still hang on to this day, although they know that that guy was a con artist. Really, really weird stuff. So when I see that right there, it makes a lot of sense. Profound states of consciousness. That's exactly what this guy would do. I'd get into it more, but that guy was really sleazy. The things I'd have to describe are just gross. Also, it creates stronger disassociative barriers. This is very interesting. It creates stronger mental barriers, mental walls, where you could hide commands or personalities. Allegedly, maybe, perhaps, I don't know. We're just talking here, right? That's interesting, because I've thought that, not to be insulting, but I've thought that about Erika, because sometimes Erika just seems intense. That's the nicest word I could put there. She seems very intense. Like when she did that whole thing with Barry Weiss, and she's like, just stop. That's it. Like, it was weird. Like, she brought up Candace, and all of a sudden she's like, and she's doing that whole thing, and I was like, huh. And people are always like, oh, she's just this big actor, et cetera, et cetera. And it's like, maybe, or maybe something switches on, you know, because it's very abnormal. I mean, even if you were acting, you know, and somebody was telling you to act, and you went like, okay, and then I'll go like this, they'd be like, no. Put that away. I don't know what that was. Listen, don't do that. When Barry Weiss brings up Candace, just simply look at her sternly and say, stop. Really? Because I can just, you'd be like, whoa. Whatever your eyes are doing, please don't do that. Okay? You just have to do this one thing, right? You wouldn't want that. You'd be like, get out of here with that. Keep going. Implant long-term suggestions, triggers, and behaviors. I mean, this is real stuff. Again, you have to remember, this is not Mortal Kombat Ultra, right? This is something different. So they're not doing it through anything but the ritual, the ceremony, and, you know, possibly being able to take your belief system and turning that into this. Okay. So, and I know I'm talking about certain people right now, and I'm putting it through that lens, but even think about how social media can do that with a person, right? it can really change how they can take your belief system. They can show you a bunch of images over and over again. And, and these images are just nonstop. You stay up till 3 a.m. You get these images until 3 a.m. You wake up, grab your phone, you get it all again. And that's just every single day. Like, imagine what that could do to a person. If, and I'm not saying this is happening, if the things we were being showed were intentional, right? I'm not saying that's happening. They wouldn't do that. That's Elon. Elon is the savior of free speech, actually, and he would never do anything like that. Thank you. And Mark Zuckerberg's just a cool guy. He's just a cool guy. Have you seen his hair lately? He's just a cool guy. Exploit deeply held belief systems, fears, symbolic frameworks for leverage. It's just more of the same of what I'm talking about here. Potentially produce, and this is what's on record. Okay. This is not just me like being like, oh, what can I say? Like, no. This is on record. This is what it is. Let's keep going here. This made often the bridge between Mortal Kombat and scientific-based approach. Scientific with Mortal Kombat Ultra. They were doing science. That's all they were doing. Key characteristics between the agency and the DoD. It was an effort. It was managed by Agency Technical Services Division, same group that ran Mortal Kombat Ultra under Sidney Gottlieb, in collaboration with the U.S. Chem Corps at Edgewood Arsenal, Maryland, and Fort Detrick. I've actually never heard of that fort. I want to dig into that a little more. Going deeper, ritualistic and occult details. The ritualistic elements are the most shadowy and controversial aspect of often. Surviving records are extremely limited due to the 1973, like I told you, there was a destruction order by then director Richard Helms. Over 95% of the files were shredded. I think that's speculated. I mean, I don't think they could possibly know how many, but that is what is said. It is strongly known or inferred the combination of rituals, experiments deliberately with ceremony and ritual setting to test whether the symbolic and emotional intensity amplified mental walls, suggestibility, and long-term programming. Now, I put this here. This is the only thing that I've altered because that's what comes to mind, right? And when I say church, I mean like the mega churches, because it's a different thing. Like, I go to a church where there's, I don't know, in one service, there's 80 people, maybe 100. And it's not really happening there because you can hear by what they're saying. They're just covering, the book. They stick to the book. But if you go to other places where it's thousands of people and the front row is like Super Bowl tickets, that type of thing, that place, a lot of the time, will push different things. It's very weird. You know what I'm actually thinking of? There was one big church. I think it was Stephen Furtick. And Stephen Furtick, I love Stephen Furtick, by the way. I think he's great. I mean, there's some talks that I've heard. I'm like, wow, that guy's great. But there was one time where he did. So this is your hand. The hand signal he did. A lot of people confuse it for "I love you" or rock and roll. So he had this finger extended, this finger extended. These two fingers were down. I'm not doing it. These two fingers were down. This finger was up. So this finger, and this finger are all extended. These two are down. He did that hand symbol, and people called him out because they knew that was connected to the occult. I mean, he's in front of a big church going people, right? A massive amount of people. And it's on the internet. So people called it out. And he made sure to do it in front of everybody. And then he simply came out and said, oh, I just thought that meant rock and roll. That's all. He's like, I've never heard it mentioned in any other thing. And I was like, that's so interesting, because he's a grown man. He has access to the internet like everybody. And I don't believe that he thought it was just rock and roll. And then you start to read about this. I'm not saying he's involved or anything. That's not what I'm saying. But I just find it interesting that someone will do something like that, say that they think it's rock and roll, and then you hear about this often, right? And how it's implemented. And I'm going to get back to this, but I'll just say, and then when it comes to your conscious and your super conscious, you take in whatever you see, no matter what. Whether you're concentrating on this picture or not, you're still taking it in. Whether you're concentrating on the color over here, you're taking it in. That's the way it works. You see it, your superconscious is taking it in. And that's what he did to all those people. They all took in that symbol. Erika actually did the same thing at Charlie's memorial. And people are just like, it means I love you. But believe you me, that hand symbol existed far before the sign language was even invented. So just saying. Anyway, let's keep going. Specific occult techniques included ceremonial magic, invocations, which are chants, sigils, altars. What's a sigil? Altars. I think the altar would be something like a mega church, a huge dedication, and then chants. Chants would be, I think it would be talking points. When it comes to chanting, I think it would be the talking points. Like, back in the day, sharp as attack. He's sharp as attack. That guy is sharp as attack. Like that whole thing. That became a chant, right? And then if anybody takes that in enough, they hear it and they go, no. He's actually sharp as attack. I've heard it on all the news stations actually. So I think they wouldn't make it up. And you're like, okay, all right. And then what's a sigil? Now, if you don't know what a sigil is a symbol. It's funny. I talked to somebody. I interviewed him. He was deep in the occult, right? He's actually a teacher. He's like a occult practitioner. And I wanted to interview him. I wanted to understand. And it was a very helpful conversation. And he revealed what a sigil was. And he made a sigil. And when he made it, I wouldn't look at it. Because what a sigil is, it's a symbol that is endowed with an intention. And that's what you're putting the intention on this symbol. And when you show this symbol, that intention radiates out. And again, back to your superconscious, whether or not you're taking it in, you are going to take in that intention. That's magic. It's basically what that is. If you want to know an example of a sigil, any logo could be like a sigil. We don't know what intention was made when, Google or anybody made their logos, right? We have no idea. But a good, what is his name? Led Zeppelin lead singer. What is his name? I know you're yelling it at the screen right now because everybody knows this guy's name. Was it Robert Plant? No, it couldn't have been. I'm going to say occult. He was deeply into the occult, just so you know. Like deep into the occult. Okay, Robert Plant still comes up. Yep. Jimmy Page. That's who it was. Sorry. It was Jimmy Page. So Jimmy Page, let me put Jimmy Page in here so you can see that you've already been exposed to a sigil before. Jimmy Page, sigil. And this is not, I'm not just making this up. He made a sigil. He knew what a sigil was. He was very much into it. Where is he? So he used to wear certain suits. There it is. So that's his sigil. That's it. He would wear that on his robes, on the stuff he would wear on stage. He would always have that sigil. I didn't want it on screen too long, but he would always have that sigil. Okay. That's a good example of one. Because he had some intention inside of it, and nobody knows what it is to this day. He won't tell anybody. But it's close to the first sigil that was ever made. Anyway, let's keep going. Satanism, demonology, elements and fear-based rituals to induce submission. And for me, I wrote this in here. I said Hollywood and fear in the media. And that's when I brought up, the news always makes you feel like demoralized. The news always makes you feel a little sad, right? It's that type of thing, right? And also, as we talk about the holy mob and other people in the media, don't they always try to make you feel terrible about things, right? I think that's why a lot of people like this show, because I try to make things funny. And I try not to leave you with a terrible feeling. There's a lot of people that do want you to leave with a terrible feeling. That's what they want. They want you to leave with a fear inside of you. Let's keep going. Astrology and tarot for psychological profiling or symbolic trigger implantation. So that's more of the same, just triggering thoughts, triggering, whatever, commands, awakening something in someone. You ever seen that video? I think it's Al Roker, and somebody says Holy Ghost. He's like live on TV, and the woman next to him goes Holy Ghost, and he goes, whoop. He just stares at the screen for like 20 seconds. He doesn't blink or anything for like 20 seconds, and then he snaps out of it. Oh, there's so many videos of that. Basketball players, everybody. It's so wild when you see it happen. I gotta find one. Let me find one. How do you rate his name? Draymond Green zoning out. It's so weird when you see it. There's so many of these too. Oh, if I could just find. It's gonna be too hard to find. Let me just try X one time. He just spaces out, and it's the weirdest thing. It just happens out of nowhere. It's always when like some word is said, and you know it's no like certain word. Where is this guy? You'll never find it. Is this it?
Victory type of guy.
Is this
We're
it?
not leaving this game looking for something to build off on. We fucking suck.
Okay, no, that's not it. No, there's one where he just tunes out. Oh man, I'll show it to you in another episode. Let's jump back over here. So we jump in and then what I wrote for that type of thing, when I wrote the group ritual involving symbolic role playing, etc., I said Charlie's memorial. That really signified that to me, and rallies in general. That's what they're doing. Right? You really do, I wouldn't say leave a different person when that type of stuff happens, but you were very taken in by the spectacle. It is, and you know what? Even if I say Charlie's memorial, you could even go deeper. Like watch it if you want. Watch a Taylor Swift concert, or watch like I don't know what that type of music is called. Is it called EPD or EMD or something like that? That like where it's just beats. Watch one of those concerts. The stuff that they're doing now with holograms is nuts. So it'll be like this thing that looks like some kind of demon, and it's like up and it's moving around and it's smashing things. And you're sitting there watching all of this. And again, your mind's just taking it all in. So whatever their real intention is when they show you that type of stuff, it's getting to you, whether you realize it or not. Symbolic environments. Subjects were exposed, carefully designed settings. Again, that speaks to what we're saying. Symbolic props, invocations, during and after, exploited belief systems, create profound altered states, hidden command structures, etc. And I just said gatherings because it goes right back to what we were talking about before. And then the goal of the amplification, the program tested the theory that rituals could make more reliable, longer lasting, and less resistant to deprogramming, like hypnosis, and you must be a part of it. That's what I was saying with this whole thing. Because there is an element of that in a lot of things, that you have to be a part of it. You have to be on one side or the other. You have to engage in all this. If you're with us, you must engage in everything that we engage in. It's very weird. And then I just wrote at the end, this is the state of the world. You see it everywhere. You really do. When you look around, you see it everywhere. We're already at, I'm not going to say it. You see what minutes we're at. I don't want to say that. I'm going to say we're at 34. We're already at 34 minutes. That would just be too on the nose. No. But even that's an example. I said, I'm not going to say the minute. I said 34 minutes. Then you look, you see it's not 34 minutes. It's one lower. You take that in. I didn't do that on purpose, but it's an example of how that works. Now, what if I told you, and that was just us getting deeper into it. I hope that helped a little bit. I hope that helped you see the world a little bit. I hope, it's like They Live, and I just gave you the glasses for a second. You know what I mean? If you don't know about the movie They Live, please go and see it right away. I should do some comparisons with that movie, actually. But anyway, what if I told you that Charlie and Erika were in the vicinity of a lot of these sites where often and Mortal Kombat were actually happening? Would you believe me? Not super close, but the fact that they were even in the vicinity and really shows something, because who knows, let's just say it's in B, let's just say something's going on in A building, often is happening in A building, and there's a bunch of schools, companies, buildings, whatever you want to say. There's a bunch of community outside of it. How far do you think they would venture out in order to do what they're trying to do? I would say pretty far. I think they would travel. I think they'd look around. I think they try and find a young kid who's 6'7", who speaks immaculately, who has passion in his voice. Now, I'm not saying that's what happened, but it's very, very, I don't know. It's just weird to me. So let's go through this a little bit. So Charlie was born in 1993, Chicago suburbs, childhood upbringing, Arlington Heights, Prospect Heights, northwest suburbs. High school was Wheeling High School. This is where they offered the gifted program. They had gifted programming in there. They focused a lot on leadership. It was almost like a Yale. That's what it's like. It's almost like a smaller version of Yale, where they're focusing in on leadership. They're trying to make you into something worthwhile as you leave that school. And honestly, not all schools are doing that. Brief college stint, Harper College, Illinois. That's 2012 to 2023, or sorry, 2013. So that's his little upbringing there. And at some point within this right here, at some point, he is connected with that man. Now, I know that it's very odd, because Candace brings up him being at some X-Men school. And I'm like, okay, well, what school could it have been? Him and Candace met in 2017. That means either he had this short stint and somehow he was connected to that man through the schools, or he was a part of some other school that we have no idea about, and he was connected at an earlier date or he was just connected to this man for years because they discuss Candace. They discuss the dreams that Charlie's having, and they discuss Candace. And that man says he wants to meet Candace. And I really hope Candace answers the question of if she ever met that man and if she knows who he actually was. Proximities. University of Illinois Medical School, Chicago area, 20 miles and was a documented Mortal Kombat U site. Okay. They would do behavioral studies. It was reused for often behavioral research and a part of S-Gate. That's something that I'll talk about later. Legacy networks. So this was very close, very, very close to Charlie. But there's another place. Okay. Hines VA Hospital, Chicago area, 25 miles. It was a Mortal Kombat U site. Legacy use in often in related studies, right? Then there is Joliet Prison, 50 miles, a little further. But this was also a site that they would use for, I'll just say nefarious purposes, right? This is straight just from what we know, just the Mortal Kombat side of things. And what they would do was just, oh man, people don't even know the half of it, right? We all think like, oh, this person, they would, the most I can say is they would break someone. That's what I could say in the most meticulous way, nothing physical, but just, man. And there were so many people who they did that stuff, like thousands, probably more than we even know. Time overlap. Early childhood and education from 1993 to, wow, it's so wild when I see people born in the 90s. That's crazy. To 2012, during Often's continuation, late 70s, and S-Gate's continuation, 1978 to 1995, with post-1995 legacy research, potentially using regional infrastructure. And here's the thing. Here's why I bring this up. Right? Because people can say like, oh man, this was, the time and, would they really, this stuff never stopped. You know what's funny? I say that this stuff, I don't know for sure. Maybe, perhaps, allegedly, who knows? It seems like, why would you stop a good thing? And also to couple it with this, Think about Gary from Paramount Tactical. When he's having that secret conversation with Mitch, he actually says the same thing. And he says he has, I would love to talk to him about this because he's on the inside kind of, I don't even know if he's retired, but he says he has proof. I was like, what? The guy that's going with the official narrative on everything? He's like, this stuff didn't stop and I think I have proof. Mind-blowing to me. Just mind-blowing. He really said that in the conversation. It was 2 hours, so I couldn't break it all down for you guys. But yeah, he says that in that conversation. You can find it at about 1 hour, probably 1 hour and 20 minutes to 1 hour and 50 minutes. He says something along those lines to Mitch. Erika Kirk, Franzvi, 1989. It's 1989. That's when she was born. Primarily Scottsdale, Phoenix, late Denver, Colorado, early childhood, raised in Scottsdale, Arizona, post-divorce, graduated from Notre Dame Preparation High School, Scottsdale, 2007, college, brief attendance at Arizona State University. That's Temple, Phoenix area. Attended, what is that, Regis University, Denver, Colorado, 07 to 09. And she had a basketball scholarship. Do you guys know that? She actually went on a basketball scholarship in those years in that school. Somehow she got a basketball scholarship. I find that so weird. I mean, maybe she can hoop. Maybe that's how her and Charlie connected, I have no idea, but I just found that so interesting when I was doing my research. So Good Samaritan Hospital, Arizona, 15 and 20 miles away from the school that she went to, the high school that she went to, Notre Dame Prep, ASU, documented Mortal Kombat site. Okay. And also extended into ritual behavior, trying out. I'll say they're trying out. It was reused for often. Okay. Then Denver University, also within the metropolitan region, Denver University, tied to, and this is just good to know in general, whether or not they're super close or anything. Denver University tied to Mortal Kombat as well. Unwitting students involved. Some of them had no idea. Some of them did. Some of them had a vague idea, et cetera, et cetera. But very interesting. Legacy use and often esoteric research. Okay. Timeline overlap. Her early childhood, late 80s to 09, during often continuation and S-Gates continuation with post-1995 legacy potential. So it's very weird that that's going on. It's very odd that these two people are in this situation, okay? They are clearly especially in Charlie's case, clearly being like, you're not going to go to college. Drop out of college, and we're going to start this thing. He's like, okay. Then all of a sudden, this guy is like, hey, I'm here for spiritual reasons. Like, tell me about your dreams and everything. Tell me about these premonitions. And he's like, okay. And then all of a sudden, Frank Turek, Rob McCoy, and they're like, hey, you got to add a faith element to this whole thing. And he's like, okay. You know what I mean? And then it got to a certain point where he was like, not okay. And they were like, what? What do you mean not okay? He's like, not okay. It's like July. Not okay anymore. And they're like, okay, well, wait till September. We'll see what happens. That's kind of what it was, breaking it down quickly, but still. And then the variability. This is very interesting here that I found. So we're talking about the overlap there. But yeah, it's very interesting that Charlie had all that happening, gets into this position. Meanwhile, Erika also has these things happening. She's trying to get into Hollywood. She has these parents that are connected beyond belief when it comes to, DOD, et cetera, et cetera. And then ends up in a position where she's with this guy. And it was all while they were on a trip to Philadelphia, quote unquote. Right. And then they get together and then they're married. And you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden within, I don't know, a few years of them being married, he's gone. And now she's running the company. And she went from being like, hi everybody, hey. She went from that to just like, hello, how is everybody today? It's very odd. It's very odd. But the summary of the variability, my researcher is doing some work here. In 1977, there's a Senate hearing that confirms Mortal Kombat moving on to becoming often as a continuation. And I just included that. Like, these are the pages. I have a bunch of pages that I'm like looking over and stuff, but it's very interesting that it was actually confirmed in a Senate hearing. And that you could actually get access to. That was not destroyed or anything. So there are some overlaps here, and it's all geographical. You know, I don't know anything else other than the geography. I find it very interesting. The same way I find it interesting, you know, Busta Rhymes, you know, he's a rapper, LL Cool J, Jay-Z, Mary J. Blige, and there's like 4 other rappers. They all like went to the same high school. Like, what? You went to the same high school and you all became famous? What? Martin Lawrence, who's a comedian for you younger people. He was an incredible comedian. He's in Bad Boys. Maybe you remember him from that. And J. Cole, who's a rapper, who's like a big rapper, signed to Jay-Z's record label. They were both born in the same military base in like West Germany. It's like, what? What are you talking about? And they're both famous? How? How does that happen? Snoop Dogg and Cameron Diaz were in the same apparently they're in the same high school. And Snoop Dogg smoked with Cameron Diaz. What? What are you saying to me? I don't know, man. I'm saying, I don't know. Maybe I'm the only one that thinks it's weird. I think it's very, very weird. But let's move on, guys. Let's move on. We'll get more into often as time goes. I want to talk about the signs in Hollywood of often and the signs in politics about it as well. I know I mentioned that to you guys. But let's move on to the holy mob. I just want you guys to understand what I'm talking about when I say that, because it's something that I'm going to be referencing quite a bit. It consists of Turning Point Faith, Calvary Church, Cornerstone, Liberty University through Standing for Freedom Center, formerly known as the Falkirk Center, and Build Up Korea. And there's probably more. We're still working it out. I have 2 researchers, and I think at this point I have to bring them together to really work on this. But from what I'm seeing, and this is a very important thing, you know, when you hear these organizations, you can't just think, well, it's the organizations and they all work together. It's actually not how it is. They're not connected in that sense. Okay? It's not that they're all connected and they're all working together at once. There is key figures who act as what is called connective tissue. And there's probably, don't know about this at all, just probably donors who are also connective tissue as well. And by connective tissue, I mean, you know, Rob McCoy, he helps Charlie start Turning Point Faith. He works closely with him. Frank Turk is his mentor. Rob McCoy is a speaker and starts talking to people at Build Up Korea. Then from there, they get Charlie Kirk to headline their biggest event. You see what I mean? Then you go to Standing for Freedom Center. You have Mikey McCoy. You have Michael Knowles. You have all these different people who are Turning Point and Daily Wire, actually. And they're all supporting it, right? And then also they're also supporting Build Up Korea. Like that. It's things like that. But there's key figures, right? I would say Rob McCoy is probably a key figure. I mean, we saw everything that Candace talked about. Rob would be a key figure when it comes to Build Up Korea, Calvary Church, and also Turning Point Faith. You know what I mean? So it's like just those key people. Those are what really connect these things. But anyways, that is the super mob. Now, here's the thing that I wanted to read quickly before I even have a full breakdown of it. But it's very interesting. So there's Mia Kim. Okay, so Mia Kim is the one who founded Build Up Korea. She's like the Charlie Kirk of Korea. So Mia Kim, the founder and president of Build Up Korea, is a person that established the Overseas Organizations Advisory Board, including the appointee of Maureen Bannon, CEO of her father, Steve Bannon's War Room Media venture, as a member. Okay, so again, Mia Kim is connected to a Bannon. Interesting, you know, his daughter. But still, there is a connection there. Build Up Korea's official website lists that the advisory board directly under her leadership, with Maureen Bannon, featured alongside Rob McCoy from Turning Point Faith, and he's a Turning Point Faith chairman, right? Then we have somebody who is an advisor to the now Prez. His name is Alex Burwitz. I can't really read that name. It's like Burwitz. His name's Alex, indicating Kim's central role in curating and inviting these high-profile U.S. conservative figures to lend credibility and international reach to the Korea-inspired movement. Korea-inspired, like, I shouldn't say Korea-inspired. It's like American-inspired movement. Now, this person goes on to say, this is my researcher. I just don't want to, he's still flushing this out. Somebody said it's fleshing. I don't want to use the word fleshing because gross. So I say flushing. Rob McCoy's decision to join the advisory board of Build Up Korea alongside Maureen Bannon, interesting, whose name remains linked to one of those most disturbing footnotes in the modern American scandal, which is Steve Bannon and the files, Manhattan townhouse, etc. Apparently he was filming a documentary. Bannon was filming a promotional documentary at the Manhattan townhouse on the very day that people came to arrest the guy the E-Files, that guy, Jeff. Plus, Kirk's criticism around how those files were handled. We're back at the same theme that Candace was talking about. You know, that theme she kept talking about, all those charges she kept talking about. Bannon is nothing more than a speaker for Turning Point's Veritability, kind of like Evan Kilgore, for example. Promotional trade-off, deals at face value. Of course, this is all alleged. So his daughter has involvement rings extremely odd since Charlie Kirk did not set up Build Up Korea. That was Mia. He chose to endorse it by headlining its biggest event, speaking at length, and publicly aligning Turning Point's mission with the Korea conservative youth revival. This was his active personal commitment to the Korea angle, making him the movement's most high-profile U.S. ally right up until the end, and that's Charlie Kirk. This effectively positioned Kirk as the face of all these organizations that I now call the Holy Mob, meaning they all had tremendous amounts of wealth to be gained post him going away. Potentially, allegedly, who knows, maybe, perhaps. Everything was in operation with Charlie having very little to do with what was taking place aside from him being the face, even though he was actively CEO. And it gets deeper, but it's a long message, and we'll get back to all that soon enough. But that's just what I wanted to bring you guys in regards to what I call Holy Mob. Let's get to super chats. Hope you guys enjoyed that. It's deep. It's very deep. I'm telling you, man, I don't usually do research like this, but when Candace threw all that out there, I was like, let's look into it. And I could have a researcher on deck, so it's like I might as well. And just expanding what this is, letting God expand what this is. Let's jump in. What is this? Julia, $24.99. Let me tell you something. Doesn't have to be so high. Okay. I'm just saying. All right. I'm just saying it's a lot to just say, thanks, coach. I love your content and your beautiful soul. Like, thank you. You could have just said that though, but I guess, I'm going to read it. Someone else said, Lizard said, love listening to your content. Just wondering what state you're in. I'm a fan in UT. Keep up the great work. I move around quite a bit. I will be in the South. Okay. Most of the time, East Coast, when the wife and I are having babies. That's what we like to do. So I love Texas. I love Kentucky. I love Arkansas. I know a lot of people don't understand that. I love those places so much. I like to be in Texas, Austin specifically. And then, in fact, as soon as Ian got to Austin, I was already moving over to the East Coast. And I was like, man, like we could have actually like met up, but it just didn't line up. So that's what we do. We move back and forth. And right now the wife is, you know, she's in that way right now. So we are expecting. Obviously, Candace and Charlie brought me here, but I encourage others to check out your whole channel. Lots of interesting stuff. If we ever tie a bow on the Kirk saga, I look forward to more interviews and other interesting topics. That aside, I would totally rock a night shift beanie. Yeah, I'm gonna make some night shift stuff for sure. And definitely when this saga is ended, we will just be going deeper into other things that have happened. That's what we're doing. Anybody who's been watching the channel for a long time, they would always ask me, why do you do so much Joe Rogan content? And I would always say, that's just the phase. That's the phase that the channel's in right now. And then when this happened, I was like, well, I have to cover this. Like, how do you not cover this? This is, you have to, this is just, it's too weird. It's too odd. And then you have the biggest voice, someone becoming the biggest voice in the world because they're not letting their friend's memory just die out. And they're getting attacked for it. It's just all too much. It's like, how do you not watch this? How do you not talk about this? But yeah, it's going to evolve as time goes on. And yeah. I hope you guys lock in with me. Someone else says, Karen says, thanks, God bless. Colleen says, hi, coach, love your channel. I was wondering if you heard Candace talking about military training at Camp Hoochie Coochie or whatever, involving soldiers and infiltration of churches, etc. There was a Christian couple who owned a gym, and this fake Christian couple ended up ruining their business. Anyways, sounds similar to what you're talking about in Austin. I wonder if that's the military work Erika was talking about. I have no idea what work she was talking about. I have no clue what she was talking about with that. It's very weird that she would have anything to do with them. But also, you know, it's weird that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson was working with them too. That's weird. It's like, what? And then he's like, well, both sides asked me to run. It's like, what? What's happening? I don't know, man. I don't know. So who knows what she was doing? And also, who knows if she's been asked to run or not? That's something we don't know either, because in actuality, a lot of people don't know this. Charlie was supposed to be potentially JD's VP. A lot of people don't know that. He was going to actually, perhaps allegedly, be in that position. So now people are speculating, and Mikey McCoy and Frank Turek actually brought this up, that Erika might take that position. Like, she's just taking over everything Charlie was supposed to do. I don't know. I don't get it. Somebody else, Wendy, said, becoming that old man, LOL. I'm that old woman. Get off my lawn. Yeah, man, it's weird. I'm almost at reading glasses age. I need to trim my nose hair every 2 weeks age. It's so weird. I thought there was fluff on my neck. There's more gray hair. I'm like, what's going on? This is crazy. It's nuts to see it happen in real time. And I sound more and more like my mom as time goes on. Like, I get on the phone and I'm just loud for no reason. Like, the person can't hear me. It's like, what's going on? And I'm just letting it happen. Whatever. Asked ChatGPT if Charlie passed away. When it first happened, I did, and it fought me. It fought me tooth and nail, and it was like, no, that didn't happen. And I was like, yes, it did. It just happened. And it's like, no, it didn't. It was nuts. It was the weirdest conversation I've ever had with an AI before. Somebody else, $99. Hey, it doesn't have to be so high. Okay, I'm gonna read it regardless. But I will say this. If the rest of you would be like Wizard Mom here, could change a guy's life. Okay? I want a gold plated beanie. That's what I want. What's going on, guys? I'm tired of just wearing these no-name hoodies. I want like a Gucci hoodie. You guys not going to help me out? I should become like one of those preachers, you know, like those preachers who are like, and if you believe in the Lord, like you claim you do, you have to just bring me $2,000. That's all we need, folks. Just $2,000. Just $2,000 for the Lord. You know, that's a real situation I'm bringing up. This person said, you are the hardest working in the business. My husband and I did a breakdown this weekend, and you are number one. We also love that you are man who truly loves his wife and children. The world needs more like you. Keep it up. That's thank you. That's very nice. I do love my wife and children a lot, and I do it for them. I do it for you guys because I know you guys enjoy it, but I think of them when I'm sitting down at 3 a.m. to do a video. I'm always thinking of them. They're the best thing ever. Absolutely the best thing ever. And then the last person here, being his own creation, he just says, is anyone concerned for Charlie's kids knowing what we now know about Erika? There's a lot of speculation about what's going on with the kids, and I don't know. There's a whole bunch of speculation. I have no idea what's going on there, but you know, I was thinking about it before because Charlie is a lot like me, and we're very traditional. And I always think, like, sure, Frank and everybody says he has all these notes and he wanted Erika to take over. And it just doesn't seem congruent with being such a traditional man like he was, that you would then want your wife to take over and become this untraditional woman. Although it is an untraditional circumstance, I don't know. It seems odd. It seems like he would want someone else to take over. This is a guy that wouldn't let Candace drive. He was like on record of like, you're a lady. You don't drive. I drive. I do that. Like, so it's weird that he would be like, now I need you to step into the CEO role and be this. Like, it's very weird, you know? I do wish, you know, all jokes aside, I do wish that she was just with her kids. I think your family is, you know, if you have a good relationship with your family, they regenerate you, they heal you, they replenish you. They are the best thing for your soul, for your mind, for your heart. And the fact that it seems like, because we only know what we see, the fact that she doesn't have them like 24/7, you know, like real connected and together is sad. It's sad that she has to go off and do things, and it's sad. And I wish she could be with her kids, you know, as much as everybody thinks she should. I think it'd be good for her. It would definitely be good for them, be good for her, you know? Anyway, that is the super chats. Right now, I got to go see if what Candace is doing, getting ready for a night shift episode, and I will see you all there. Anyway, I'm out of here.